Sheilas and fellas, thanks to AI slop and those greedy buggers over at Nvidia, the production of our beloved RTX 5070 Ti has slowed so dramatically that it is on the brink of becoming extinct. We were picking these babies up for under their MSRP of $750 on the regular in 2025, but now you'd be lucky to find it for under 1,000 American rock flag and eagle dollars. But fear not, because when all hope was lost, one person stepped up to save us, and it was Walmart, baby. They have this RTX 5070 Ti 9800X 3D CyberPower Gaming PC, which has gone on and off sale for $1,899. We finally sniped it online and made it all the way through to checkout, so let's get inside Walmart and see whether we picked up a beauty or to see if this thing is too good to be true and we once again got robbed. Alright dude and dudettes, at the beginning of January we visited our local Walmart in the ghetto, which had a total of 0 PCs on display. It was disgusting, but we walked out with a 5070 Ti rig for around $2,400 from Skytech. Now it was on the more expensive side, but it had some pretty high value components in it, and overall we were very happy with it. But today we have traveled over an hour to Summersdale, New Jersey, to one of the biggest Walmarts in the state to pick up something even better value. And as we make it to the gaming PC section, unlike our local ghetto Walmart, they actually have the PC on display. It is this CyberPower Gamer Supreme PC that has an RTX 5070 Ti, a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2TB M.2 storage for $1,899 United States turkey breast, which is an out of this world deal in the current market. You can see they have this display model locked down in the store, so animals like myself and Hank don't sneak it out of the store by hiding it somewhere within our body. This display model has a gigabyte graphics card, which ain't bad, some XPG RAM, and an ASRock B850 motherboard, so it looks pretty good. Although it has broke the cardinal sin of PC gaming, it has a micro ATX motherboard in an ATX case. This is by far Hank's biggest pet peeve, so let's pray we get something different, as these CyberPower PCs have some wildly different components each time you purchase them. So while we're here, let's check out some other PCs that they have in stock, starting with this Y40 Intel Core Ultra 7 RTX 5070. It's on sale for $1,599. Honestly, it's not the worst deal in the world, but at the moment, Costco has an RTX 5070 9800X 3D on sale for $1,699 United States dollars, so maybe go check that out. We've reviewed it previously on our channel, and it was an absolute monster. Next up, they have this Asus ROG Strix gaming PC on sale. It has no labeling whatsoever, so I have no idea what the specs are. We did review one of these models that had the 9950X 3D in it from Costco about a month ago, and honestly, it wasn't that bad, although the motherboard was atrocious. So if you're interested in these PCs, check that out as well after this video. But going down the line, we also have this iBuyPower PC with what looks like an XFX 9070 XT in it. Now, even though we are 6'5" and 225 pounds of pure muscle, we can barely reach this thing to film it, and it has no label, so we have no idea what's in this PC. And then finally, we move on to this CyberPower PC with what looks like a gigabyte RTX card in it. Again, there's no labeling, and even worse, it only has one stick of RAM, so good job from your marketing team, Walmart, really helping me make an informed decision in your store. But anyway, a quick fade to black, and wabam, that $1,899 CyberPower PC is in the back of our car with Frank sitting on top of it, and she is looking simply lovely, mate. Frank, do you have anything you want to say about this?
Sir, I got one question for you. What are those?
Good question, mate, and as usual, it's time for our annual fit check for the three of you out there that love this segment. Now, it is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius in New Jersey right now, and I am, of course, rocking my shorts. To accompany my chicken legs, I've also got some plain white Amazon socks on that we got for about 4 cents, alongside my $8 Target thongs that are filthy, but enough yapping, mate. Let's get this PC home to the greatest PC building sausage that ever lived, so that he can tear it apart piece by piece and see if we got ripped off. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the studio with the Gamer Supreme PC. CyberPower has to have the worst naming department of all time. But a quick snap of the fingers, and there is our little PC building superstar. He's excited for this one. We cannot find anything close to this for under $2,500 right now. Now, unfortunately, we bought this around the 10th of February, and looking online right now when it's currently the 23rd, it doesn't appear to be in stock, but we kept tracking this using the website slickdeals.net, and they said this spontaneously spontaneously comes in and out of stock for $1,899 every other day of the week. So it may take a bit of work to actually snipe this PC and purchase it, but let's see if it's worth it. We have the box upside down. All we have to do is hit it as hard as possible and grip it, rip it, and stick it, baby. And alright, player. It's nice and secure, and we are one piece of packaging foam away from revealing the insides of the PC. I actually love doing these reveals because you never know if you've hit the jackpot or scored a steaming turd burger. So we went to retrieve our magic cape. We have it right here, and a 1 and a 2 and wabam. Fat Ugly Glizzy is here to see what we've received. A quick tug to get the foam out, and my god, Sheilas and fellas, literally every component on the inside of this thing is completely different from what we had in store. If we take a trip back down memory lane, they had a micro ATX motherboard, a gigabyte GPU, a very different looking AIO, different RAM, and a different M.2, and just from a quick glance, it looks like we've largely hit the jackpot with our parts. Terrific stuff. But before we get into that, let's quickly turn it on and judge it aesthetically. Tiny Weenie, can you give me 2 firm handshakes before we turn this on and blind our viewers with ARGB puke?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Sweet merciful Jehovah, would you look at that? 7 ARGB fans beaming a rainbow straight into our retinas alongside the CyberPower AIO. Are we in heaven right now? Overall, I think it's a pretty clean looking system. They have 3 fans on the back, which they have reversed to bring air into the case, along with 4 forward blade fans to push air out through the AIO and out the back of the case as well. It's a pretty nice fish tank looking design, although I am not the biggest fan of this raised cage for the PSU followed by the exposed area with a hard drive down below. I'd rather it just go all the way across to hide the whole thing, but whatever, mate. Now, this bad boy is completely entombed in glass, but having a quick look at the booty, and you do have some ventilation coming in through there, so she should be right. Let me know down below, do you like this design? She's pretty standard looking for most pre-builts in my opinion, but what matters is how she runs. Now, the 5070 Ti would largely be considered a 1440p gaming rig all day, every day, and with upscaling, you could easily push it to 4K to get some decent frames, but we have done these benchmarks previously in a similar system. Those videos are linked below, but the question we had coming into this is what happens if you're an esports virgin like Hank that wants to push 300 plus frames per second at 1080p? Well, thanks to today's sponsor Titan Army, that's going to be possible. They sent over their brand new P2712V gaming monitor. Now, the secret sauce of this bad boy is that it has 2 specific modes that it can run at. The first being 4K at 165 Hz, which is a massive upgrade over our older $600 Samsung Odyssey that we got many years ago, which can only run at 144 Hz. But on top of that, this thing has a dual switch mode that you can control in the front of the monitor. Just click right here down the bottom to activate it, and it turns it into a 1080p 320 Hz monitor for competitive multiplayer games. So the question we have is, let's see if we could take advantage of that using our 5070 Ti 9800X3D CyberPower Gaming PC. Starting out, of course, with Fortnite set to DirectX 12 performance mode, so all the settings are set to low, but epic view distance, and mate, look at this thing. It's getting an average of over 400 frames per second with 1% lows in the 300s. She is looking fantastic, and the 320 Hz is insane. Hank is usually booty cheeks at this game, but he is eliminating everyone left, right, and all night. Moving on to Marvel Rivals with our waifu Wanda Maximoff, we have this on medium settings with DLSS set to balanced and shadows turned off, and we are well over 320 frames per second, mate. And keep in mind, we are filming this monitor using an iPhone, and it looks fantastic, mate. Very bright and sharp, so good stuff, Titan Games. Now, I was a bit unsure if we were able to get Battlefield 6 to 320 frames per second, but medium settings with DLSS set to balanced and frame generation set to 2x, it is allowing us to get into the 400s, mate. Now, I know some of you hate frame generation because it's said to increase input delay, but I think it played great, and I really couldn't feel feel it at all. I think it's actually starting to get better if I'm being honest. I mean, look at some of the eliminations this sweaty sausage was getting. This monitor turned him into an absolute battlefield demon. Moving over to one of our favorite games, the finals. No frame generation necessary for this. Medium settings with DLSS set to balance shot us up to well over 320 frames per second, and it was as smooth as eggs. Hank not only destroyed everyone with his throwing knives and samurai sword, but he also stole the final cash out to escape with the hot dub. Incredible stuff from the glizzy. Moving on to another game that we play a lot, Rainbow Six Siege easily got over 320 frames per second and allowed Hank to get some filthy headshots, and Call of Duty Warzone Resurgence for some reason was capped at 250 frames per second. Now, I didn't know how to change this, but this was with the graphics set to balanced and DLSS set to balanced as well, so if you can figure out how to uncap it, you could easily get 320 frames per second. Now, if racing is your thing, Formula 125, which is usually pretty hard to run at medium settings and DLSS set to balanced in the rain at Las Vegas, easily got over 320 frames per second. So terrific stuff, mate. And finally, I don't know why you would want to do this in a AAA single player game, but Cyberpunk 2077 at medium settings with DLSS set to balanced and 2x frame gen gave you 384 frames per second. So if you are a sweaty frames per second addict, this PC is perfect, and so is the monitor from Titan Army, but the cherry on top, this thing is only $269.99, which for a dual switch monitor is pretty incredible. And to top it off, it also has a bit of cheeky ARGB on the back, so thanks for sponsoring this video, Titan Army, and the link is down below for the monitor if you're interested. So yes, this PC is a beast when it comes to gaming, but now is the time to throw it on its side and tear it apart and see if the components are actually any good. Starting off with the GPU, and we scored big time here. Ripping out the 600-watt cable and unscrewing it from the side allowed us to reveal the Asus Prime 2-slot RTX 5070 Ti 16GB model. This is one of our favorite designs. It has this sleek black and silver looking aluminum type finish. It can fit into a ton of micro ATX cases, and importantly, the cooling of this card is second to none. If we run the card under 100% load for 30 minutes using Thermark, we get a maximum temperature of 65 degrees, which is unreal for a 5070 Ti, so we scored big time on this baby. And interestingly, looking at the display model, it did have a gigabyte card in it. Now, I do much prefer the Asus model, but I wouldn't have complained either way. Looking online, the card alone costs a total of 1,000 United States sausage rolls, which is a bit of a ripoff given the MSRP is $750, but don't expect it to go back to that anytime soon. Next up, we ripped the RAM out of this thing, and once again, CyberPower has delivered the good. This Team Group Vulcan DDR5 kit is 32 gigabytes total, clocked at 6,400 mega transfers per second. So I'm sure as we go to Task Manager that CyberPower has set the RAM to run at its appropriate 6,400 mega transfers per second, right?
Nope.
Wrong. Great heavens, mate. It literally takes 3 seconds to do this in the BIOS. Anyway, when we look at the display model, they had this XPG kit, which has often not been great to us. They usually come in at 6,000 mega transfers per second or lower with a CL of 46 to 48, so luck has been in our side this time. In terms of pricing this part out individually, a similar Team Group kit on Amazon is 539 United States hamsters. What the hell, LeBron James? Please don't ever pay this price for 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. Gee whiz. Moving on to the M.2, it is 2 terabytes, and we received this Data Legend 860, which isn't too bad at all, I guess. 6,000 megabytes per second read and write speeds, and right now an unbelievable $339 on Amazon. This is criminal, mate, so we'll definitely take this. So now that we've got that out of the way, it's time to reveal the second best gaming chip on the market right now by removing the CyberPower AIO. We just have to slowly undo these 4 screws individually, and there she is, mate, looking very filthy. Let's give her a quick wash so we could properly introduce the Ryzen 7 9800X3D. This chip is definitely going down in the Hall of Fame. 8 cores and 16 threads with enough 3D V-cache that's going to even allow you to run Crysis. Now, this baby was at the top of the food chain for the last year. However, AMD decided to release something that no one asked for, the 9850X3D, a very similar chip that basically gives you at max maybe 5% increases in FPS at 1080p while having closer to 2%, if that, at 1440p and 4K. So if you already have the 9800X3D, stick with that, mate. This is definitely not worth it to upgrade. Now, the AIO that they use in this pre-built is a CyberPower design. I have seen a lot of complaints that these aren't great, and when we run the CPU under 100% load, it gets extremely toasty. We are looking at an average of around 91 degrees Celsius, so to try and overcome this, we put just a tiny bit more thermal paste onto this thing than there was previously. You know, not too much or anything, and then we tested it again, and it was still at 90 degrees, so it appears the AIO might not be the best. However, when gaming, the highest we saw the CPU get to was Battlefield 6 at around 76 degrees, and keep in mind this is at 1080p, where the CPU is much more utilized than 1440p or 4K gaming. So overall, if you bought this rig and you can't be bothered changing it out, it should be fine, but just know it's not the best. Interestingly, going back to the display model, it had a completely different AIO pump on it that was also from CyberPower, so I don't know if this thing is any better. Let me know down below if you did purchase this thing, what are your CPU temperatures like? Are they as toasty as ours, or are they much cooler? Now finally, we have to assess the motherboard. Looking at the display model, it had a micro ATX ASRock board in this huge ATX case, which makes Hank physically sick. I'm sure most of you are well aware this is his biggest pet peeve, but don't you worry, young Glizzy. We have been blessed with an ATX MSI Pro B850 VC Wi-Fi, so thank the heavens. This is actually a pretty good motherboard relative to some of the other trash that these high-end pre-builds have given to us. It has PCIe 5 for the GPU and one Gen 5 support M.2 slot, which we love. In total, it has 3 M.2 slots, which are easy to access even when the GPU is in there. It also has pretty good VRMs for the CPU as well, and looking at the rear I.O., we have been blessed with a ton of USB-A ports, 2 USB Type-C ports, 5 gigabit LAN, and Wi-Fi 7. So Hank is a very happy boy with this board, mate. Thank you, CyberPower. So once we throw the AIO pump back on, yeet the RAM back into sockets 2 and 4 and shove the GPU back into place with the 600-watt cable tightly secured, we throw this thing back up straight but spin it around to take a quick look at the booty to unveil something that could ruin it all, the power supply. So taking the back cover off, and good lord, mate, this has to be the best cable management I've ever seen. How are these pre-built companies so good at doing this? Hank is literally the worst cable manager of all time. I could never imagine having one of our PCs look so clean. Anyway, enough stalling, mate. A quick fade to black, and it's time to celebrate. We are blessed with the Apevia Prestige 1000 watt 80 plus gold tier C on the PSU tiers list. We love this PSU. We have used it on our personal system for more than a year, and it has been great. We have never had a problem with any of these Apevia Prestige units, but let me know down below if you have the same opinion or if Apevia has kicked you in the nuts and this PSU sucks ass. So taking a step back, overall, we give the quality of this pre-built a 9 out of 10. We loved everything, mate. The only thing holding it back from glory is if the AIO kept the CPU a bit cooler, if the RAM had a lower latency, and if the PSU was a tier A on the PSU tiers list, but this is being super picky, mate. Considering we got a 5070 Ti 9800X3D for 1,899 United States cheeseburgers, we are very happy with all of the components that we got in this thing. Now, the last question we have is, can we build this same PC by ourselves using brand new parts? Keep in mind the date we are doing this is the 23rd of February, and we aren't going to use Micro Center as most people don't live near one, but they do have a 9800X3D bundle going for $729. This does include an X870E motherboard and 32 gigabytes of RAM, so it's pretty unreal, and if you do live near one, definitely take advantage of that, but we are going to have to start on Amazon with the motherboard. By itself, the best but cheapest B850 board we can find is this B850E Wi-Fi. It currently has a $66 coupon, so at checkout, it costs $154. What a deal! Moving on to the GPU, this Asus Prime 5070 Ti card costs $1,007. The Ryzen 7 9800X3D CPU, on the other hand, brand new on Amazon, is $459. Moving on to the RAM, and a 32GB kit of DDR5 is still holding steady at $359 United States tomatoes. For the love of God, though, I hope RAM decreases soon. This is crazy. Unfortunately, M.2 storage isn't getting any better either. We are looking at 2 terabytes from Crucial for 213 United States hamburgers. This is disgusting. Thank God the AIO market is at least good. We are going with the GOAT of budget cooling, thermal, right? This Infinity Lace 360 pump costs $54 brand new, which is also very good. For the case, we have to go with the one and only DIY PC N3 ARGB Black, which is our go-to for selling any of our PCs on Java. It comes with 4 total Infinity fans with an ARGB fan hub provided and has this beautiful sleek design for the sexy time number of $69 after this $5 coupon on Newegg. We have an affiliate link down below if you want to purchase this thing and support Hank, but if not, mate, we'll understand. And finally, last but not least, the Apevia Prestige 1000 watt 80 plus gold tier C on the PSU tiers list is an astounding $79. Like I said, we love this PSU, but if you don't, feel free to meet me in the comments for an arm wrestling match. So with that, we have all of the parts on the screen, so a quick drum roll reveals that to build this PC brand new exclusively off Amazon and Newegg, you are looking at 2,394 United States Ford F-150 trucks. So this CyberPower pre-built is 100% worth it if you can get it for $1,899. Heck, we've even seen it online at $2,200, and you can even argue that this price is also worth it, but let me know down below if we are delusional on this thing as a ripoff. Click in the right-hand corner if you want to see our previous 5070 Ti Walmart review. Otherwise, me and the Glizzy love ya. Goodbye.